Hi, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Crystal Healing. I'm your host, Crystal Heal. Tonight, or this evening rather, I want to talk to you guys about getting rid of what no longer serves you. But I don't really want to talk about that subject as much as I want to bring a caution to everyone. Because there's a phenomenon I'm noticing is that people are indeed getting rid of what no longer serves them. But we are getting rid of a lot of needful things. And you see, I've noticed that this is a phenomenon that happens when you get information, occultic information or old axioms that was used without properly understanding them. And that axiom that says get rid of what no longer serves you is one of those. And because of its being misunderstood, people are actually cutting themselves off of needful portions of their life. And so today I want to discuss with you guys the difference between connections and attachments. Because that axiom, get rid of what no longer serves you, only stands for attachments. It does not stand for your connections. There's a big difference. And so we're going to talk about the difference between those two so you can rightly divide and therefore don't cut off the wrong thing. I always say it's like a razor in the hand of a child. A razor to a grown adult is a blessing. But having been given to a child, it can become a curse. And so, too, in the same way, this axiom, get rid of what no longer serves you, is something like a razor. And it has been given to people who don't quite understand it. And as a child would do, they are cutting themselves, essentially. Whereas in the hand of a grown adult, they'll cut off the needful things. So we're going to try to discuss that a little bit. Now, for the picture for this Gaudio that I've put up here is a picture of a man. And if you notice, he's jumping across the cliff, of course. But something striking I want you to notice about this picture, and I use this picture so that you can remember this picture. This is an apt representation of the difference between an attachment and a connection. Now, I hope nobody listening to me have actually fallen into this trap and have cut yourself off from your family, your friends, your children. There's an ungodly doctrine or dogma going around the so-called conscious community that says your children are expendable. They are attachments and you can cut them off. Your mother and father are expendable. There are attachments and you can just cut them off. And that, my friend, is some type of weird, twisted ass ideology there, and I'm thinking it's coming, like I said, from the axiom, get rid of what no longer serves you. But look at this man's legs. Now, I'm going to ask you a question about this man's legs. Are these attached? Which ones? Tell me. Okay, look at the picture now. On the right side, you see a leg, and he got one on the left. Which one is an attachment? Both of them are not attachments. One's an attachment and one's a connection. Can you tell me which one is the attachment and which one is the connection? I'll wait. Yeah, that's right. The one on the left-hand side is the attachment, meaning it is not originally a part of the body. It has been attached. The one on the right is the one that's connected to him. People. You see, they call it critical thinking because it is very critical. And we are lacking in critical thinking. Now, I'm talking to my melanated people at this point because for some strange reason, the lighter races don't have a problem with understanding what I'm about to say. And this may be, a result of classical conditioning or some type of programming. I'm not sure what is the cause of this, but for whatever reason, they don't have this problem. You see, when they hear the axiom, get rid of what no longer serves you, they understand that is not talking about their family and friends. It says get rid of what no longer serves you, not who no longer serves you. You see, that's the problem with us. We always want someone to serve us, not really understanding that if I serve you and you serve me, everybody gets served. I'm going to say that again. If I serve you and you serve me, everybody gets served. Do you realize that everybody else on the face of the planet understand that? They get that. Why can't we get that? So we found an axiom in one of the old books that says, get rid of what no longer serves you. And attachments are the root to suffering. Yeah, attachments indeed are the root to sufferings, but not connections, my babies. Not connections. Connections are the root to all joy. And if you don't properly understand the difference between an attachment and a connection, you will disconnect yourself from your connections and therefore disconnect yourself from your joy. I'm going to say that again. Yes, attachments are the root to suffering. Buddha said it. Jesus said it. Everybody said it. All the great ascended masters, whatever you want to call them, they all said that attachment is the root of suffering. But you understand this is a dualistic world, right? You can't just stop there. There's always a yin to every yang. So if attachment is the root to all suffering, I want you to know that connection is the root to all joy, and they are not the same. In the same way, if you look at this picture, that the one leg this man has is not the same as the other one. One is an attachment and one is a connection. Stop cutting off of your connections, people. You're cutting off your own damn life support. You're cutting yourself from your mama, not realizing that that is you, and your daddy, not realizing that that is literally you. And it's even dumber to cut yourself off your children, because that's still you. Understand? Now, an attachment is that which is not connected to you. You see this man's leg here? This leg is not connected to him. It has no blood supply coming from his body into the leg, none whatsoever. Matter of fact, the only reason he has it on, because it is a burden. Those legs are very heavy to carry, but because he needs it to stand, he's wearing it. Okay. If that leg was to break, get rid of that motherfucker. If you can no longer stand up on that leg, get rid of it. Get rid of it if it no longer serves you, because that leg is an attachment. However, what can be said about the leg on the left, the prosthetic leg, cannot be said about that one on the right. Understand this. If you catch a Charlie horse and fall on the floor, you can say that leg is no longer serving you, but are you going to cut it off? Answer that. Are you going to cut it off? No, you're not. Not without going to physical therapy first. Not without trying some herbs or some medicinal things to get your leg to working back right. You just don't cut off your connections like that. Now understand that you are intrinsically connected to the people in your life. They are not attachments. They are connections. You are tied to those people from the womb to the tomb and beyond. You are tied to those people in the same way that both of your legs are tied in together with your arms and your heart and your liver and your kidney. Yes, that's how you are tied into the people in your life. And you just don't go cutting people off out of your life that you are intrinsically connected to without suffering. I want you to understand that. Some of you may have tried that. You may have tried to cut off your connection, AKA your family, your friends, and your children. And you've suffered because of it. You've bled spiritually because of it. And there's a reason why, because they were not attachments. You see, you could take an attachment off and not suffer. That's right. But if you cut off a natural leg, something that's connected to you, you will bleed. And everybody knows that the blood is symbolic of the spirit. So I want to tell y'all, if y'all have followed this unholy ass doctrine and dogma by people who didn't understand it to begin with, and you have cut yourself off from family, friends, your children, any connections, meaningful connections in your life, and you feel that hurt, you feel that bleeding of your spirit, that is a true indicator that you have just cut off something that was serving you. Now, I need y'all to understand this as well. Just because you don't see how it's serving you does not mean it is not serving you. I'm going to say that again. Just because you cannot see how it is serving you does not mean that it is not serving you. Understand what I just said. Now, what do I mean by that? You may say, my mother, my child, whatever whatever this connection is. I don't see how they're benefiting me in any kind of way. Well, I want you to know that there are things that go on behind the scene that you cannot see. Just because you cannot see the strings does not mean that they are not there. Understand that there are invisible strings between you, your parents, and your children, and indeed everyone in your family. Y'all are tied together. Anything that happens in their life intrinsically affects your life. And so though you may not see how they are serving you, understand that there are strings like blood vessels and arteries running from their spirit into your spirit. So just because you don't see the ebb and the flow of the energy, the thoughts, the ideas, doesn't mean that it's not going on. So just because by your appearances that you don't see how they are serving you, understand that within a body, each member has its duty and its job. You know, the hand could say the eye's not serving me. I don't see how the eye is doing me any good. I'ma just get rid of it. You understand? If the hand does not understand that it is intrinsically connected to the eye through the body. And I want you to know that we are intrinsically connected to each and every one of the other. When they move, you move. When you move, they move, period. They call it the collective conscious, the Akashic records, whatever name you want to give it. We are intrinsically connected to each other. We are not an attachment. Understand what an attachment is. See, when the scripture says, it says that I'll shake heaven and earth and what doesn't remain, then I'll shake it again. And basically to see what's left at the end. Understand that the people in your life are that which remains forever. They are immortal like you are immortal because they are you. Attachments are those things that when they are shaken, they disappear. The attachments are the illusions that we are all trapped in. Have y'all ever heard about Plato's cave? If you haven't, I implore you to go read Plato's cave. Google it. The story. And you'll see the story. It's about a man who's chained down to his chair and he's looking at these shadows on the wall. And that is the state of the world we're in right now. We are looking at all of these illusions on the wall of our mind. But see, he was in the theater with other people. The people in the theater with him were very real. Understand that. The people who were chained down to the chairs looking at the shadows on the wall, they were not shadows themselves. They were actually real people. So when they say cut off that which no longer serves you, they're talking about the attachments. That's the shadows on the wall. It's not talking about the people sitting in the theater with you. You cannot detach from them. They are you. There's one spirit here manifesting itself in diverse forms. So when you cut off what is connected to you, something is wrong. That's equivalent to a man with two healthy legs cutting off one leg that is completely healthy because he says that it's no longer serving him. He doesn't understand. We got to use our critical thinking skills, people. There's a difference between attachments and connections. It says get rid of what no longer serves you, not who. It says get rid of what no longer serves you, not who. I'm going to tell y'all another little secret while y'all out here cutting people off. You know what I see when I see people cutting other people off? I see people cutting off their own leg, their own damn arm. Now, I understand sometimes your leg causes you pain. You might have restless leg syndrome or some shit like that. I understand sometimes your leg can make life a little bit uncomfortable for you. But you see, we don't run and cut off our leg every time it causes us pain. It could cause us pain 2 and 3 times in a day, and we don't go cut it off. Because you understand how you're connected to your leg. You understand how your leg serves you. But because your child is not serving you, you cut them off. Because your mama's not serving you, or your daddy, or your auntie, or your uncle, or your neighbors, you cut them off. I want y'all to know that that is completely opposite to what is divine and what is true. So as long as you following that bullshit, you're going to fall in the ditch. I'm here to tell y'all. Y'all be careful out here on these digital streets. These motherfuckers selling y'all this digital crack. that is going to do nothing but destroy your lives, destroy your meaningful connections. And like I always say, you're going to have to learn the hard way. Because when you end up by yourself with no meaningful connections, that'll be equivalent to having a torso with no legs and no arms, talking about cutting off what no longer serves you. Use your head for more than a hat whack. When they tell you stuff, I know it sound good with them itchy ears, it tickles your ears and shit, but try to, before you implement this information in your life, try to think about it critically, my people. That's what we need, critical thinking right now. Okay? There's a difference. I'm going to say it again. There's a difference between attachments and connections. If your spirit is bleeding, if you feel that pain and that hurt from some supposed attachment that you detached from, my baby, I'm here to tell you that was no attachment. That was a connection. It only hurts because it was a connection. You understand? In the same way that this man on this picture, if he take off that prosthetic leg, see, that's an attachment. It's not going to hurt him. It's not going to hurt at all. But if he try to take off the connected leg, he going to feel some pain. Now, y'all all know that you could say lose a finger or some shit like that. And if you put, well, I'm a nurse, maybe y'all don't know it, but if you get a finger cut off and if you do it quick enough, put it on some ice, rush yourself down to the ER, they could sew that motherfucker back and you could still have some use of your finger, right? Well, I'm telling y'all that if you have erroneously cut off what you thought was an attachment, and because you feel the bleeding of your spirit, you've realized through this that it is a connection, there's still time left. There's still time left. Go and get the connection that you got rid of, that you cut off. Like what's her name? Lorena Bobbitt. They had to find that man's piece. She cut her husband's shit off. They had to go find it in the bushes. But you see, their ass was out there hurry up and searching for it because they know if you can reattach it in enough time, you can still use it. And I'm telling you, it's not too late. If you cut your mom off, if you cut your kids off, if you cut some connection that was valuable in your life and that was serving you, even though you didn't realize it at the time, you got time. Go find that connection and reconnect. Stop bleeding for no reason before you lose all your spirit in your unholy ass cutting spree. Listening to these fools out here who done picked up a piece of occultic information and never went through any initiations. They're not even in the invisible school of the spirit to teach them what this means. And that I hear telling you to get rid of that which no longer serves you. I want you to understand that you are supposed to be on a divine path right now. And I want you to know that this divine path does not lead you away from your connections, but it strengthens your connections. Not only your connections to the people in your life, but the connections to the very world itself. This is how witches, warlocks, gods, goddesses, and things like that are able to manipulate their reality by a connection to it. Understand what I'm telling you? It is just like in a relationship. You see, you can't manipulate a person until you are effectively connected to that person. And then you can say jump and they'll say how high. But if you are just attached to that person, then you can't pull no strings. You understand? And so the whole path, people, is to get you a greater connection. But you got to get rid of the attachments to get connected. Understand the dualistic thinking here, people. I know this is difficult and it's hard to grasp. It's even harder to explain. But understand that an attachment is the opposite of connection. It's the opposite of connection. Attachment is a burden. Attachment is only there because you have lost meaningful connections. Now, understand what's going to happen. If you continue to cut off your meaningful connections, all you will have is attachments. Understand what I just said. If you continue to cut off your meaningful connections, all you will have is attachments. Because if you don't have your real legs, all you can have to walk is your prosthetics. So isn't it ironic? While you thought you was cutting off attachments, you was actually adding on attachments by cutting off your connections. Grasp what I just said. Grasp what I just said. And see, this is the mind fuckery. This is the trickery if you don't really understand what you are doing. Your ancestors. People say they talk to their ancestors. Your ancestors are you. If you are speaking with your ancestors, then that means you should remember some of your previous lives, because your ancestors are your previous lives, in the same way that your children are also you. So explain to me how cutting your healthy leg off and your healthy arm off is going to bring you health. Explain that to me. You can't, because the shit don't make any sense whatsoever. Y'all study to show yourself approved. Do your own due diligence. I understand that listening to different people helps to expand your mind. But at the end of the day, you need to sit down with the information yourself and meditate, contemplate on this information before you make grand decisions like separating yourself from your children who need you. That is you to come. That is the you who is to come. You see, that's how people with no memory happens. You know, if you don't learn the lessons from yesterday and apply them to today, you'll never grow. And I want you to understand that your children are your tomorrow. It is your job to pass on whatever lessons and clarity that you got today and give them to your tomorrow self. This is how time travel is possible, people. If you understand the nature of nature, the nature of nature and the nature of this reality, then you can indeed go back in the past by talking to your parents. And you can change your future. Don't you know what Michael said? Your children are the future. You didn't hear that shit? But you thought that was a game? You thought it was just singing because the shit sound good? No, your children are literally your future. So if you want to have a better future, you have got the opportunity today, right now, to make your future better. Your parents weren't the way you wanted them to be. Well, you are a parent today. Be the parent that you wanted to have, because you will be the parent that you will have. Understand that. Understand that this is a web that you have weaved, this matrix, this womb of creation, this world, this illusion, whatever you think it is. Understand that it is a web. You are the spider who created this web. And in the person of your children, you are also the fly who's trapped in it. You're the spider and the fly. Understand that, people. None of the great masters, none of the Egyptian gods, none of the greats ever advocated for being so fucking selfish. I hope y'all see what's going on in this so-called conscious community. I hope y'all see what's going on. They're putting a crown on self and saying fuck everybody else, and that is the opposite to the truth. The truth is you are everybody else. How you gonna say fuck everybody else? Fuck what no longer serves me. That ain't the shit that was ever taught. Not now, none of the religions, none of the mystery schools, none of the Gnostics, the Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, the alchemists, the occultists, the mystics, none of them taught that bullshit. Let's just be selfish. Worry about self because all is self. Well, if you know all is self, well, wouldn't you be better to the all? But no, you hear some shit like cut them off and everybody just pulled their knives and scissors out the bag. Like, we just didn't tell you that everything is self. But you just cutting your leg off and your arm off and shit because these dumb motherfuckers done told you to do that shit. And they look like they know what they talking about. Critical thinking, y'all. It's called critical because the shit is very critical. It could mean the difference between life and death, heaven and hell, joy and suffering. You understand what I'm saying? It's a game, but at the same time, it ain't. That's the dual nature of shit here. You're dead and alive at the same time. You're in and you're out at the same time. You're God and you're human at the same time. And this is not a fucking game, even though it is at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? Pain is real. You feel that shit, don't you? I know this is still illusion, but the pain is real. The fear is real. The love is real. The connection is real. And we got to start getting real. A lot of us need a reality checkup. We need to start getting real with ourselves, because we are going the opposite way we are supposed to be going in this so-called conscious community. Y'all see the bullshit out there? Y'all been looking? Y'all been seeing the bullshit? You see the envyings, the strifes? Y'all see all the bickering over stupid shit? I'm going to tell you, just like the Apostle Paul says, where does that come from? That come from your carnal, fleshly mind. That means your ass ain't ascending nowhere. Stop it. Just stop. Stop. And I want y'all to be cautious out there. Those who are truly on the path, on the truth path. Those who are not just playing because being woke is the new fad. Being conscious is the new fad. But those who are really trying to make it to a state where there is no suffering. Those who are really trying to make it to a state where the lion really do lay down with the lamb without chewing his ass up. Because if you look at this so-called conscious community, that's all I see. Lambs and lions. Lambs and fucking lions. And I guarantee you they not singing Kumbaya in this bitch neither. No, they're not. So y'all be cautious who you following. Be cautious the community that you are a part of. Because let me tell you something else. Isolation is required. And when I say isolation, I don't mean you don't have to do like Buddha and run off in the woods. Now, for some that you might have to, depending on your family structure, if you aren't allowed that mental isolation like you need it to be. But you could be in a crowded room and still be alone. OK, so when I say isolation, I'm not talking about that you necessarily have to go somewhere physically, but you definitely got to go somewhere mentally. A lot of us on this path, even now, even finding people who think somewhat along the same lines, you still alone in a crowded fucking room. Still alone. That's right. And that's the kind of alone I'm talking about. Not cutting off from everybody you fucking know and being a recluse. Now, if you have to do that again, then, hey, that's what you got to do. But I'm talking about that mental aloneness is necessary. Y'all be careful with groups, joining different groups, because as humans, you need to understand that our mind is programmed a certain way, and we naturally have what is called group think. And if, it's like a herd of cows. If one cow starts running, everybody starts running. They don't even know what the hell they're running for. You've even seen this shit on some of these YouTube videos where a nigga just come around the corner, bust out in a full sprint. These people standing on the side don't even know what he running for. And suddenly they ass bust out in a sprint too. And see, we have a tendency to think like that. So if one person says, go ahead, cut off from this and cut off from that, without even thinking about it, you start cutting shit off. When I mean it's okay to be in the group, but you need to isolate your mental capacities from everybody else's. Meaning, when this dumb motherfucker say start cutting shit off, you are alone in your mind. You are not attached to them like in that way. So you can actually think for critical thinking alone and say, wait a minute now, let me process this and see if this is actually needful. You understand what I'm saying about being alone in your thinking? You got to think for yourself. For yourself. That's what consciousness means. When they say we woke or we conscious, it's not meaning gathering up all this information from the four corners of the fucking world. That don't make you conscious. That makes you knowledgeable. It may even make you intellectual. You see, because you've got intel. It makes you intellectual and knowledgeable. But that shit don't make you woke, and that don't make you conscious. See, what conscious is, conscious means to be aware. To be aware. That's it. It's not the Black Power movement. I know you want to think it is. People on the Black Power movement want to say they woke and they conscious, but no, it's deeper than that, my baby. It's deeper than that. To be conscious means to be aware, and not just aware of what's going on in this regular ass world, aware of what's on the news and who fighting overseas and oppression. And that's one level of awareness, but that's pretty low. That's pretty low. When they talking about be conscious and be woke, and when I say they, I'm not talking about these regular old bottom feeder people who still stuck in regular physical appearance, still looking at the fucking shadows on the cave trying to name it and say how much better they are because they know all the names of the shadows. That's not the folks I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ancients. I'm talking about the ancients and some of those who are in present day time, who have passed through. Noble Drew Ali is one for the melanated team. The paler skin races have their Manly P. Halls and Alan Watts and Neville Goddards and, all of them. And they basically, is saying the same shit. And the path that we are on is not the path that we are supposed to be on. It's not going towards heaven at all. Matter of fact, the shit that these people who's supposed to be leading y'all to so-called heaven is really shutting y'all out of heaven, is what's really going on. Having you cutting off shit that you need in your life, and you sitting here bleeding spiritually, talking about it's the devil doing it. Yeah, it's the devil doing it. The devil is in your own mind. Because until you can critically think for yourself, your mind is the devil to you. That's right. Your mind is the devil to you. All of those people who know the real truth know that you are supposed to be moving towards greater connections with your family and friends, greater understanding, aka love. Not less. Not less. Be careful with the groupthink. Be careful following these idiots into the goddamn ditch because they done read a few books, but the shit is not being revealed to them from within. So they're leading you astray. They are judging off of carnal, physical appearances and not spiritual knowledge. There's nothing wrong with eating healthy. There's nothing wrong with growing your hair or all this other shit like that. But I want you to understand that your hair is energy, baby. The apples is energy. The chickens is energy. The tables is energies, my baby. So understand that those are lesser forms of magic. And when I mean magic, magic is the ability to cause change in your environment. Yes, you can change your diet and cause change. Yes, you could grow out your hair and cause change, but I'm talking about deeper than that. There's a deeper truth here. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you that the world is mental. All is mental. And so while you changing your diet and changing your hair, all you got to do is change your thoughts. All you got to do is change your mind. That's what repent means. Metanoia. To change one's mind. It didn't say change one's diet. It didn't say change one's hair. It didn't say change one's dress. Do you think that the universe really give a damn what you wearing? Do you think that the universe really give a damn about your hair? Do you think that your hair really got to be a certain way for the universe to get a message to you? Because the universe is so goddamn weak it can't get a message to you if you got perm in your head? Really? Do you even know that you don't even have to eat? There are people in this world that do not have to eat. Why? How? What do you mean, Crystal? By alchemy. You see, when you read these old occult texts, people that don't know think it's really talking about iron and metal and sulfur and mixing it with this and mixing it with that. But it's not. It's talking about mental alchemy, turning that lead ass piece of brain you call a brain into some gold, some shit that can receive light and reflect it back. You understand? Does that make any sense? And so they got these people out here fucking with this lead kind of brain, teaching you lead kind of information, when in reality, you don't need to worry about your damn diet. Not really. You don't need to worry about your hair. You don't need to worry about whether you got clothes or not. None of that shit. If you can learn how to control your mind, because your mind is the originator of all that you see. The only limitations that you have are the ones that you put upon yourself. So if you believe that you have to do this and do that, then that's what you have to do. But if you know that the door is wide open and all you have to do is walk through it, then all those charlatans who are standing at the door and says, hey, before you walk in, you got to do this. Hey, before you walk in, your hair too short. Hey, before you walk in, you got to wear skirts. Hey, before you walk in, you can't be cussing. Hey, before you walk in, you got to eat fruits and vegetables. Hey, before you walk in, you got to sun gaze. Hey, when the door is wide fucking open, wide open, and all you got to do is walk through it. But you dancing around hoops and shit, teaching doctrines of devils is what it is. All distractions to keep you from doing the work that needs to be done, which ain't really work at all. It's just mental work. Mental work. Choosing your thoughts. Disbarring the ones that you don't want to be there and focusing on the ones that you do. Calming your mind. Mastering your emotions. You understand? That's what they need to be teaching. All the rest of that shit is just that. Facts. Take that how you want. Now understand that they have their place as well. All things have their place here because there's levels to this shit. You can't just go from 0 to college. You got to do kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. So understand that there's a lot of disinformation in those lower grades. Just like if you know anything about Freemasonry, if you say any lower level Freemason, they'll teach you information, but it's a little bit of disinformation in there too. It's only until you get into the third is where you start getting the real. So in the same way, in the invisible school of life, whom the Spirit, the Great Spirit, the Mother Father, is the teacher of us all, and the only real master teacher in this world. Let's just be real now. This teacher here will take you up the successive levels. And as you bust through these different barriers or filters or screens, as this called in the Kabbalah, you learn higher and higher information. And so some of the lower, lesser information that you learned is no longer relevant for you. And so I said that to say that at the bottom rungs, some of that shit you getting is necessary for you to get it that way. But apparently, because you're listening to this right now, it's time for you to bust through another screen, another filter, another blockage, another door. You understand? And so you got to let some of that shit go. You got to let some of that old regular ass shit go, because you not no regular ass person. I need y'all to really grasp what the fuck I'm saying. You're not regular. You're not. And what you could do is much more powerful than choosing your diet and choosing your dress and choosing your hair and choosing your friends and choosing your location. You do not understand the power that has been invested in you. In the very essence of your being. That's what woke is. That's what conscious is the awareness of your power and your connection to all there is. And when you really understand your connection to all that there is, then you realize that you are the 0 point. You are the singularity. You are ground zero. Everything proceeds from you and returns back to you. Hence the law that whatever you sow, that you shall, whatever you sow, that you shall reap. You get back what you put out because you are ground zero. You don't even have to have hair. Do you know that? You don't have hair. The fact that you think you got hair means you're deluded. You don't fucking have hair. You don't have a sex. You don't have a gender. You don't even have a real body. That's an illusion. That's a fucking attachment. The spirit that resides in that body, though, that soul behind them eyes, that's not an attachment. That's a connection. You understand that? When the heavens are rolled away, the heavens can be rolled away because that's an attachment. When your body melts away and turns into pure energy before your very eyes, you'll understand that your body was an attachment. You'll understand that, but your spirit is not. And I want you to know that the spirit of your children, the spirit of your mother, the spirit of all the beings in the world, whether they are part of the yin team or the yang team, we like to have separations. Black power. You understand? That's okay. But understand that the white team and the black team are still part of the same body. Either way, I don't give a damn. Okay? So if you haven't grasped that yet, then you might be a little woke, but you ain't all the way woke. Let me hit you with some of this coffee. Open them eyes up real bright for you today. Okay? We are all connected. The only attachments is what you think this world is. So while they are teaching you to cut off from that which you need, and they are teaching you to tack on shit that you don't need. So now you hugging fucking trees and shit, but you ain't got shit good to say to no human nowhere. Fuck all of y'all. I'm getting rid of what no longer serves me. You ain't on my frequency. You ain't on my vibe. You fucking up my chi, my prana. But you out here fucking hugging trees and shit. That shit funny to me. Because see, what you don't realize is the trees, the sun, the stars, the moons, the lakes, the oceans, the land, the bodies, all of that shit, those are attachments. So while you are hugging the attachments, you supposed to be cutting them motherfuckers off. But yet you cutting off your family, your friends, the real people, the real conscious people. And when I mean conscious, I'm talking about anything that has consciousness, has some sense of awareness. That's your connections. That's the shit you're not supposed to be cutting off. But you hugging a tree that can't fucking hug you back. You hugging books that can't hug you back. You loving all the shit that can't love you back, which are truly attachments. But you done joined yourself to that. But when it come to humans, though, the real connections, you think that's attachments. The shit that's going to be with you for all eternity, which is indeed, whether you realize it or not, yourself. But that's the shit you trying to detach from. That's the shit you trying to cut yourself off from. And this why you at a dead end street right now. This why spiritually you at a dead end. You are supposed to be on the path of ascending, the path to heaven, the path of joy, nirvana. That's where you were supposed to be going, but you found yourself on the dead end because you didn't start spending your time cutting off shit you're supposed to be getting a deeper connection to, listening to these fools. And all I'm trying to say, folks, all you got to do is hit reverse. I know you at the end of the road and it goes no fucking where because it's a dead end. Hit reverse and come on out of there and get back on the path that you was on. You know what you need to do. You don't need none of these people. You don't even need me to tell you what you need to do. It is already within you. You know in your heart what is right and what is wrong. You are not that disconnected from life itself, that life is not telling you what is right and what is wrong. And you know that the way that a lot of y'all is treating the people in your life like they're expendable and shit, like you ain't really attached to them for all eternity, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Meditate on that shit. The way y'all acting, a lot of y'all, not, but a bunch of y'all not, but a lot of folks here is acting like, you know, like you still sleep. Let's just be real about the shit. Everything that people say is not true. You understand? People say one thing and say they're not this and be exactly what the fuck they said they wasn't. And so in the same way, we see a lot of people say they conscious and shit like that. Yeah, you might be conscious on the physical realm, meaning this everyday life shit. You might be conscious to what's going on in the news, conscious to how we being brain fucked and things like that. But no, there's a deeper consciousness here. There's a deeper awareness here. And the awareness is the unity of all consciousness. The unity of all consciousness, regardless of its outward physical appearance, its fleshly garb. You understand? And so when you really are conscious, when you really are aware, conscious, then there's no division between white and black, really. the struggle ends. The black power, white power struggle ends because you realize that your poverty is not because the white man kept you down. Let's just be real. I know y'all ain't gonna want to hear this shit, but it's not because the oppressor and shit like that. But your poverty is your spiritual poverty. You are only physically poor because you're spiritually poor. Understand that the spirit is the cause. Everything you see in the physical is the effect. Stop fucking with the effect and go right to the cause, my people. You're not just regular. You can do that. You can change the world, the whole world. You understand that? You remember that little song we sung in church? He got the whole world in his hands. Y'all know that one. Knowing that song. But these are truths. The movies that you watch. At one point in time, I thought these motherfuckers was mocking us in these movies. They was making fun of us or some shit. But I come to the realization a greater awareness that is simply your subconscious projecting this shit out. It's all stored within your DNA. The stories that you see, all of that shit is real, whether it's Superman, Batman, whatever fucking story it is. Every fairy tale, every legend that you've heard of is real, just not in the way that you think it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is a story of the past or a story of the future or both, because they're both the same, past and future. You understand what I'm saying? There's a deeper reality here. And if you can tap into that reality, then it doesn't matter what your hair look like. Buddha ain't had no fucking hair. And look what he did. You feel what I'm saying? It's not about your hair. It's not about your diet. You really ain't even got to eat. You could get that shit directly from the sun and process it if you can learn to transmute your mind through the science of alchemy from lead into gold. You don't have to eat. You will basically be able to pick up energy straight from the air around you. Like osmosis. Some shit like that. Understand that. Understand that though this physical reality seems physical, it seems solid, and it seems very real. The key word here is seems. It is an illusion, albeit a very persistent illusion. So how do we break through that illusion, Crystal? How do we break through the illusion? Number one, you got to marry your opposites. Yin and yang got to come together. Male and female got to come together. Your opposites have to be married to each other. And therefore, you expel the illusion. But there's another way, because that one's difficult for a lot of people. There's another way. You see, let's talk about water for a second. You see, water is very soft. It's soft. It has no form whatsoever. It takes the form of whatever container it's in. Well, your spirit, and when I say spirit, I'm talking about the incorporeal, untangible portions of yourself, your ideas, your thoughts, and your feelings. They are very much a part of you, but I can't find it anywhere. I can't cut your body open anywhere and find a thought, an idea, or nothing in there. So you have a spiritual body that contains memories, thoughts, ideas, blah, blah. Feel what I'm saying? So your spirit is like water. This physical reality of illusion in which we all were born in is like a big ass rock. It appears hard, it appears solid, and it appears unmovable. But as we all know through water, if you got a drip of water that comes off of your roof in a particular spot, and it just drips on rock, concrete, I don't give a damn what surface is dripping on. That constant, steady, repetitive drip slowly but surely wears away at that rock. I want you to understand that by continuously affirming to yourself the truth of this reality through your spirit, those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. Through the use of your spirit, you can affirm to yourself the truth, and it will slowly, just like that water hitting that rock, it will slowly wear away at the illusion of this apparent reality until you've gotten down to the truth of this reality. And when you get there, you will be a God. You will be able to manipulate your reality in whatever way you see fit. Because you will be plugged back in. It's like playing a game on the Xbox or some shit. You can't do nothing as long as your controller is not plugged in. You understand? You can't change the wall. You can't do nothing in the Xbox until you plug your controller in. And what I'm saying right now is these people, a lot of people are supposedly teaching you how to plug your controller in, and they're teaching you to cut yourself from the whole fucking Xbox. And you doing it. When in reality, all you got to do is plug into the Xbox, and then you could start controlling shit on the TV. And so when they say get in tune, plug in and shit like that, that's another one of them axioms that nobody explains. They say get in tune. Nobody explain what get in tune means. They think that means eat right, wear your hair a certain way, dress like you're conscious, talk like you're conscious. And that's not what the fuck that means. What it means is, you see, think about it now. In the room where you're sitting right now, I don't know what radio stations you listen to out there where you're at, but over here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, we listen to 107.5. Now, 107.5 is playing all around me right now in digital, in waves, airwaves. 104.9 is playing. Not only that, but YouTube is right here in the room with me. You understand? When they say get in tune, that means, you see, I can't hear 107.5 unless I tune the radio into that frequency. So when they tell you to get in tune, they mean take your body, because it is a radio. It is a receiver transmitter. It receives input. That's what you call pain. See, you receive that shit. That's what it's called, sight. You receive input, okay? But you got to tune your body into the God frequency. It don't have nothing to do with what you eating. It ain't got shit to do with what you wearing. It ain't got shit to do with whether you have hair or not, because people with dreadlocks have tuned in, and people who were bald headed have tuned in. You understand? People wearing clothes have tuned in, and people running through the woods butt ass naked have tuned in. Do you understand that? People who've eaten meat have tuned in, and people who was vegetarians have tuned in. That's extra shit. Okay? Once you tune in, then you'll be able to control shit. This is how the witches, the warlocks, the magi's, the sages, the alchemists, the mystics, the Gnostics, the occultics, and the early Christians before it got watered down and discombobulated and turned into Satan's church. You understand? Yeah, this is how they did it. They knew how to tune in to the Xbox. The world is the Xbox, or the PlayStation. You understand? Where we are all uploaded into this reality, set on specific rules. And you just got to plug your controller in. And then you can change shit. I don't know. It just seems so clear to me, but it apparently is more difficult than what it seems to me. But anyhow, let me check some of these comments out. I thank you all for tuning in. I see you all. Sister Carolyn. Hi, Sister Carolyn. Thank you. Taylor out in Costa Rica. Thank you for tuning in. Romaine Luden. Thank you, sweetie. Okay. Miss Carolyn says, peace, Sister. Peace, Sister Carolyn. You understand? Taylor Anderson says, powerful. Thanks for the clarity. No problem, Taylor. Thank you. You're welcome, Lorraine. Yvonne Taylor, thank you for tuning in, Yvonne. Yvonne says, wake us all the way up, sis. That's the plan, Yvonne. Because somehow we've hit a cul-de-sac, a dead end, something. I don't know what the fuck this is. We in some quicksand, putty. I don't know, but it seems like all of the axioms that were meant to liberate have been flipped, and they're actually putting people in deeper bondage than they were even in within the Christian church. And the shit is beyond me. It's like jumping out of the pot. You know, the old folks used to say you jumped out of the pot into the skillet. And so that's what I'm seeing with the conscious community. They jumping out of Christianity into the so-called consciousness, but is out of the pot right into the skillet. The conscious community seems to have even more restraints, more bondage than the Christian church did. I don't understand. Now, when I want to clarify this too, since I'm here right now. I'm gonna clarify this. Not every Christian church is messed up. I want y'all to know that. A good majority, yes, but not everyone. And I say that because I know some right here in the town in which I grew up in. Not very many, but there are a few who actually follow what Jesus actually taught. You understand? And so they are on the path, and they are following what all of the greats have taught, because Jesus really ain't brought nothing new. If you believe Jesus really walked the earth, Jesus didn't bring nothing new. Jesus brought the old wisdom that have been here since time immemorial. And there are a few churches who are actually following the true teachings of Jesus, and they are actually on their way to having the veil pulled back. Not everyone is a bad one, okay? So I don't want to put no blanket statement on Christianity, because in its pure form, it is a pure religion. It is a pure path, and it will take you there just like Buddhism will, or any of the other ones will. If you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Golden rule. It's golden for a reason, because it contains a whole lot of light in it. Yeah. Jimmy Ali, thank you for tuning in. My kind of teaching. Good. Charles Drew Faulkner L. Islam. Bernadette. Hi, Sister Bernadette. Peace, sis. Darrell Singleton, thank you for tuning in, my love. Yes. Summer Ali. Hi, Summer Ali. Summer Ali says, hey, sis, I feel you. It's like going back to sleep. Exactly, Summer. It's time to get out. Exactly. And they're just entrenching us more in this shit. You understand? And that's essentially, they're reinforcing the illusion. Talking about hair and food and all this other stupid shit, even the separation, the supposed oppression and victimization and all this other shit, it's really a trap. It's a dead end, like I said. You feel what I'm saying? And it's reinforcing the illusion that hair is even real. It's reinforcing the illusion that eating is real. It's reinforcing the illusion that you are real. And that's a fucking illusion. But again, the shit is difficult for people to grasp. It is really, really difficult for people to grasp, because it's something that you cannot intellectualize. It is beyond the mind. The function of the mind is to discriminate and make divisions, to say this is this and it's not that. You see, that's how we gain knowledge, is by discrimination. You feel what I'm saying? Knowing the characteristics of the table versus the characteristics of the couch. And we become smart. We could say that's a table because it's hard, it's this, that, and the other. And that's a couch because it has these characteristics. Your mind, or your brain rather, is not going to help you in this pursuit of the ultimate reality, because it is beyond and above your mind. Understand that all of this is mental, but it's being controlled by something that is above mental. Does that make sense? And so if you're trying to use your mind to under, over, inner, or outer stand this shit, you will be led astray. You will be led astray, because your mind tends to divide. Understand that. And if you are continuously dividing this from that, yin from yang, up from down, life from death, good from bad, in from out, then you are operating from the mind. And the mind is that thing that is trapping you. You are trapped in your mind. You got to get out of your mind. Your mind is the matrix. Your mind is the womb that you are in. You got to get out. Like the baby has to be birthed from the mind. The baby has to be birthed from the womb. It can't stay in there forever. You cannot stay in your mind. Thinking more thoughts is not going to get you out. Thoughts are literally like the chains. That's right. That's why when they say meditate, you're supposed to clear your mind of all thoughts, aka chains. Thoughts are illusions. They have their purpose here. Katovia Reeves, hi sis, blessings. Thoughts have their purpose, but understand that thoughts are still like chains. You have to let the thoughts go. Your mind will tell you you need to think more. And because you don't understand the nature of this shit, you start doing what it tells you to do. Not realizing that you are further entrenching yourself. You are putting more chains around yourself. The idea is to be still, and then you'll know who God is. And thinking more is not being still. That's more activity. You see, when you work, God rests. When you rest, God works. So rest. You see, the first mention, listen, in the scripture it says, the first time it mentions grace in the scripture is this little verse that says, Noah found grace in the sight of God. Now, the Hebrew name Noah means rest. There's a law of first mentions when it comes to scriptures. There's juice there when it's first mentioned. So to learn something about grace, we look at that verse. Noah found grace in the eyes of God. Noah means rest. Rest finds grace in the eyes of God. Do you want grace in your life? Well, rest finds it, not more work. That's why they say the gospel is so simple to let people complicate the shit. It's just that easy. Just rest. You ain't got to go here. You ain't got to go there. You ain't got to eat this. You ain't got to eat that. You ain't even got to say all these magical words and shit. All you got to do is rest. It's just that fucking simple. Just rest. Be still. Be still. Rest. And the cover will be pulled off your eyes. That's it. Don't get trapped. Get back on the path. Do what you know you need to do. Don't worry about all that extra shit you need to do. You already know the foundational shit that you need to do. Get to doing that. What the Christians used to say, you take us one step, God will take two. Well, let's get to taking that one step. We don't have to know the whole fucking layout of the path. See, that's our problem. We want a visual map of the path. And that's what we spend time doing. We basically building up a visual map of how this shit gonna go, where the pitfalls at before we get started out on our journey. And I'm here to tell you that's not how it works. That's not how it works, boo. There would be no need for faith if you could see the whole path. I'm sorry. You don't see the whole path till you get to the end. Then you can make a map out for people. But even when you do, your map becomes a pitfall for them because they have to unfold it within. That's why the old ancients, the occultics, the alchemists, the esoteric people say that you really can't teach it to people. They will not understand it until they've been there. It's like trying to explain the color boreal to you. The color boreal. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. No, you don't. You no mental picture is popping up in your head right now because you've never seen it. And in the same way, this type of information I'm talking about, the true awareness, the true consciousness, the woke, you can't explain it to people. They will not understand the shit you're saying until they actually get there. And then they could say, it's like trying to explain what the color red looked like to a blind person. You can't do it. Unless when they see the color red, they'll be like, oh, okay, well, I know what you was talking about now. And it's the same thing with this. You have to take this journey alone. But be careful. Be careful out here on these digital streets, like I said. Because they got hustlers, they got pimps, manipulators, and everything else that they have on the regular streets. But instead of seeking to enslave your mind, instead of seeking to enslave your body or use your body up or to kidnap your body or to abuse your body in any kind of way, out here on these digital streets, is all out there for your mind. They seek to kidnap your mind. They seek to abuse your mind, use it up. You understand what I'm saying? And I see it. There's a lot of them out there. Spiritual pedophiles, spiritual rapists, spiritual kidnappers, spiritual manipulators, spiritual pimps, and spiritual hustlers, using consciousness as candy to fucking babies, to lure you into whatever they trying to lure you into. And it's a lot of people getting kidnapped on these digital streets. You need to be like a parent to your own mind. Don't let it just run the streets all times of the day and all times of the night like it want to. Sometimes you need to tell your mind the street lights have come on. It's time for you to come on home. And that means it's time for you to get your ass about this digital world and get into the real world for a change. Spend some time with your family. Do you understand? Your mind is just like a child. You need to watch who your mind is communicating with. Everybody that speak knowledge to you, everybody that talk to you in this digital world is not your fucking friend. Just because they holding you some information, some spiritual candy out there, don't mean they not trying to kidnap you. You understand that? And take your mind captive. Have you think what they want you to think. Huh? Be careful, y'all. Be careful. Because whether you realize it or not, your mind is in baby form as it relates to eternity. I know you like to feel like you grown and shit, but outside of your little world, you really are a baby in the form of eternity. That's why you don't remember any of your last lives in the same way that a 3-month-old baby will not remember yesterday. You see what I'm saying? And you don't remember your last life, your yesterday, because you are a spiritual baby. Yeah. That's why when we talk about we going home, we going back to the crib. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, that's facts. So you be careful with your mind. You treat it just like you would a child. You be careful. You pick its friends. You look and see who it's hanging around with. Don't let it hang out with the wrong crowd. You understand? Don't let it get kidnapped by these slightly older mental motherfuckers out here who know how to manipulate. Don't think they don't know. They know. They know. I know they know because I know. I don't do it though. I don't do it. And if I do it, I do it for you to love yourself more and think better and use your critical thinking skills. But that's not what these folks out here doing, y'all. That's not what they out here doing. They manipulating your mind using consciousness or fake ass pseudo consciousness rather to further entrap you here in this cycle of suffering, death, and pain. And you don't have to be here. Be your mind's own best friend. My mama used to tell me, we never could really go to friends' houses and shit like that because, it's a dangerous world out there. My mama used to say, you ain't got no friends. I'm your friend. That's what she used to say. And I understand that shit now. You feel what I'm saying? Your mind ain't got no friends out here in this digital world. You be your mind's friend. Tell your mind, I'm your friend. That's the only fucking friend you need because you ain't got no friends around here. Yeah, it's like that. Y'all think the real world is tough. What we call the physical reality is tough. No, boo. The physical reality ain't got shit on the mental one. They could take your body, but if they take your mind, all is lost. All is fucking lost. And they out here snatching niggas' minds up left and right with this bullshit. Talking about liberation over here. And really what they do is, once you get over there, they put some chains on your fucking mind's ankles and some chains on your mind's wrists and some chains around the neck of your mind and haul that bitch off into captivity. Now you eating what they say eat, you drinking what they say drink, you wearing what they say wear, you breathing what they say breathe, you saying what they say saying, you jumping when they say jump, and you free though. You freed though. And we don't see no contradictions in this whatsoever. You free though. And you still fearing hell. You still fearing hell and not even realizing it. Because if you eat a chicken leg, you're going to hell. Whatever this new form of hell is. like Solomon say, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything just changes the theme. Same story here, different actors. You see what I'm saying? And so with this so-called conscious community, it's the same story, different actors. Now, instead of if you don't wear a skirt, you can't wear pants, you got to wear a skirt. Now it's you can't perm your hair, you got to wear dreads. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing, as above, so below. So, like I said, it's the same thing. Past, present, and future exist at the same time if you could see it. It's the Christian church rebirth again in the conscious community. But now instead of worrying about your bottom half being covered, it's talking about your top half being covered. Feel me? Yeah. Same shit. Don't fall for the okie doke. Critical thinking is called critical thinking for a reason. Yes, Miss Carolyn. Miss Carolyn says, use your spirit of discernment. Facts. Facts, Miss Carolyn. You got to test the spirits. Like back in the day, they used to tell you, the parents, to test the candy before you give it to your children. Same thing here. Test the spirits before you give it to your minds. Don't just be eating whatever they handing you. Talking about my body's strong. It can, he can handle it. Okay. Fuck. Yeah, Summer. Choose your friends carefully. Exactly. In terms of who you allow to get close to your internal man. Y'all know we got an external man and we got an internal man. Y'all have heard about the internal man. It's one thing about your external man, but if they get your internal man, bro, they got you. They got you. There's an old axiom that says that you can enslave my body, but as long as you don't got my mind, I'm still free. You understand? Because you can close your eyes and through the use of your imagination, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere while never leaving the couch. But if they get your mind, it don't matter where your body at. You could be traveling all over the world. Your mind, if your mind is enslaved, you didn't go nowhere. Nowhere. Understand that. So while they're out here talking about the body this, the body that, the body that, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. And by heart, I mean your mind. Because in the scriptures, the heart is ascribed the function of thinking, of thoughts. You see, the thoughts of man's heart is evil since his birth. You see what I'm saying? So guard your mind with all diligence. Fuck your body. I mean, I understand that the body is important, this and that and the other shit, but you got to shed that shit. You got to shed it. I know people don't want to believe that or whatever, but I mean, really? That's like saying that the sun don't rise in the morning. You clearly see the motherfucker rising every morning, and I clearly see that the body gets shed like a snake sheds its skin. So I understand that focusing on your body and eating right and sun gate, blah, 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 all that shit is good or whatever. But I want to talk about the immortal, the eternal part of. Don't let them get that, y'all. Don't let them get that. Don't be in such a hurry to save your body till you lose your soul. This is what the scriptures talking about. He who seeks to save his life will lose it. And he who loses his life for my sake will find it. That's what I'm saying. Don't be so quick to save your body. You understand? That you lose your eternal soul in the process. And so, which brings me full circle back to the beginning of this Gaudio and the entire purpose of this Gaudio. Do not disconnect yourself from your connections. If it is conscious and it is aware, then it is with you for all eternity. Do not disconnect yourself from your connections. But you can disconnect yourself from your attachments. And all of these illusions is an attachment. What you think you look like is an attachment. What you think is your body is an attachment. Yes, but people are not attachments. When you are getting rid of what no longer serves you, remember that it's what no longer serves you, not who. You are here to serve and not to be served. I'm going to say that again. You are here to serve and not to be served. But understand that as you serve, you will be served. Remember me saying you are the spider and you are the fly trapped in the web. So if the fly is there to serve the spider, then the server gets served. Do you understand? But it only works if you say and you do that you are here to serve. It only works that way. Does everybody get served? Do you understand that? So while you are cutting off what no longer serves you, be careful not to cut who off. Because the who is the you, boo. Sound like Dr. Seuss and shit. The who is you, boo. So don't be cutting off who. You can cut off what, but stop cutting off who. Because you out here bleeding spiritually, leaving blood trails all over fucking Facebook and YouTube and shit. Yeah. Yeah, you is. Your words betray you. Depressed and sad and shit, and you got spiritual anemia because you're hemorrhaging. That's right. Steady cutting off shit because this quack ass doctor, this witch doctor here, then told you to cut off your perfectly good legs and arms and shit. And you out here without a mama. You out here without a kid. Your kid out here without a mama and a daddy fucking around with you. Trying to find yourself. When you just left yourself back at the house fixing himself dinner because you out playing woke. You feel what I'm saying? But you trying to find yourself right after you cut yourself off from yourself, man. This shit is fucking crazy, y'all. This shit is crazy. Mr. Will Washington, peace. That's right, Carolyn. Spirit first, cause first. See, we out here responding. That's all we do. Some shit happening, we respond. We react. But we need to understand, look here, we need to go to the plane, we need to go to the dimension of cause, the plane of causality, where shit originates from, the root. We out here playing with the branches and shit. Well, if I put this branch over here to do this and I put that branch over there. Not understanding that if you go down to the root, you can cut the branch off from the root. You can grow a new branch from the root. You could rearrange all the branches if you want from the root. But you out here on the limb, literally on a limb, fucking with the branches. Out here cutting branches off. Y'all, yeah. Marcella Henderson, peace, sis. Peace. I just want y'all to be cautious. Want y'all to be very, very cautious. It's the reason only a certain amount of people listen to me, and I like it that way. Because listen carefully, y'all. Many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. Understand what I just said. Like Silas the Wise says, that's deep. You got to grasp. Wherever you see the mainstream going, you go the other way. Because see, the mainstream is a broad stream. And I'm sure y'all heard where that shit leads. But see, it's a narrow path that leads to life, and very few find it. And so I like it when a very few amount of people listen to me. That delights me, because that lets me know that I am amongst the company of the few who going in the right direction. Understand? Y'all be careful out here with these people, man. Like this, your soul literally depends on it, and your soul is your own thought life. You see, they say you can sell your soul to the devil, is what they say. What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? You know, when we think of soul, we think of some mystical ghost ass entity part of ourself or some shit like that. But your soul, people, to be practical, because that's what I am. I'm a practical nurse. To be practical, your soul is your thought life. Your soul is your thought life. And so when you sell your soul, It's equivalent to, we find these people who we think got the truth, and we literally hand over our soul to them. Meaning we give them our thought life. Here, you can have my soul to control it. You see what I'm saying? You tell me what to think and tell me how I should think, and that's what I'm going to think. And you've just sold your soul. But when you think on your own, critical thinking, when you think on your own, you have just regained your soul. That's the ability to control your own thoughts and think independently from anyone else's input. You understand? You see, government means govern. We know what govern means, right? Everybody should know what govern means. Ment, M-E-N-T, ment means mind. So the government is an institution that's designed to govern your mind. And so in that way, they act as the devil. Yes, they do. Whenever you do what they say do, vote what they say vote, you watch the news and somebody get on there and say they believe a certain way. And so now you believe that way. And, everybody say gun reform. And so you like, well, everybody else is saying it, gun reform. You sold your fucking soul. Your own thought life. That's that group think shit I was talking about. Because one cow go this way, all the cow go that way. No, fuck that. You be the cow that be like, wait, hold on. What everybody running for? Let me assess the situation. You see what I'm saying? That's the cow you be. If you're going to be a sheeple, be a thinking sheeple. Fuck. But we out here selling our souls to the government. Shit, not even the government no more. Now conscious leaders, so-called conscious leaders, done took our soul. We just gave the motherfucker up. Can't say that they stole the soul. They didn't just snatch it. We just handed it over. Here you go, honorable, oh gracious, wonderful person, God, goddess, witch, warlock, whatever you are. Here you are. Here's my soul. Here's my thought life, my mind, molded to your liking, please. Selling your fucking soul. For what? So you can say you woke? You're selling your soul for knowledge. You're selling your soul for intellect. You're selling your soul for ancient history. You're selling your soul for all kinds of shit. And in light of eternity, that's exactly what all of that is. In light of eternity, selling your soul for knowledge. See, the irony is your soul is the only thing that can hold knowledge. That's like selling your cup to buy some water. Once you done sold the cup, you ain't got nothing to put the water in. You feel what I'm saying? Don't sell your cup for water, my baby. Don't do that. Yeah. Peace and love. Peace and love, y'all. I just want us to start using our head for more than wig and hat racks. Okay? You know what they say about them tithes in church? You talk about if you give God 10%, God will multiply that. Open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that you can't even receive. Well, understand that the 10% is that 10% of the brain that we actually use. The scientists say we only use 10%. Give God, and when I say God, I mean energy, the spirit, the great mother father that controls all of this. Give that your 10%. And more brain cells will start working. More power centers in your mind will open up to help you see the unity of all that is. And stop giving your thought to people who really fucking lost. They lost themselves. They lost. Let me tell you a little secret. Most people who reach nirvana never come back to obscurity to pull anybody out. Most people. There are some who reject nirvana in order to help the rest of the people ascend. But most go right into nirvana and you never know how the fuck they did it or nothing. So let me tell you, most people that you hear talking about, they know what the fuck they talking about, don't know what the fuck they talking about. Most people that said they found the truth only found a version of the truth or a morsel of the truth. Understand what I'm saying? And so these people, although, like I say, everybody got their place. They're like stepping stones. They're like rungs on the ladder. but you got to continuously bust through. If you are still listening to the same teacher you was listening to last year, if you still reading the same book you was reading last year, well, then you need to reevaluate yourself, because you are supposed to go from level to level to level, glory to glory to glory, frequency to frequency to frequency. Do you understand? So even listening to me, there's a point where you're going to have to transcend what I am saying. You understand? And you got to press on, move forward. You feel me? And that's how it goes. You're not going to have the same teacher in kindergarten that you do in first grade and second grade and third grade. And the same thing is true in the invisible universe, the university of the spirit. You are going to go through various teachers. It went from being preachers in the pulpit to Facebook preachers now is what it turns out to be. And YouTube preachers and shit like that. But you should not have the same one. You should continue to grow. Feel me on that. Summer Ali says, right, like that school shooting. No proof yet visually any kid got shot. Yeah, right, Summer. There's actually no fucking proof of that whatsoever. But we have to begin to understand the trajectory nature of this reality. You see what I'm saying? It's all fakery. It's all fuckery. It's all illusion. It's all a mind trick. And so really getting deep into the politics of this world is bullshit. Getting deep into the news and the latest tragedy is bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Like, all of that is simply distractions in the motherfucking dead end to keep you from basically discovering the philosopher's stone, the fountain of youth, the crux of truth, getting from discovering your fucking self. Really. That's what it is. And because well, that's just what it is. And so we have to continue to press on. We have to do better. We have to regroup ourselves. We have to rededicate ourselves to the cause, because we, having attached ourselves to this so-called conscious community, like they say, blind leading the blind, they both fall in the ditch. A lot of us have fallen into the ditch. Now, you judge yourself accordingly. You evaluate yourself and see if you are one of those who have fallen into the conscious community bullshit, the bickering over ideologies and dogmas and doctrines and gods and goddesses and shit like that. Same shit Christian church was doing. Evaluate yourself and make sure you did not fall into that bullshit. And if you have come to find that you have fallen into the division, the bickering, the politics, the victim mentality, the diet mentality, the basically anything having to do with the external world, I am here to implore and to press you to move forward and do as the scripture says, which is, and I quote, "Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." I hate to keep saying that, y'all, but this shit is so important. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end that broadcast now. I think I've pretty much gotten out everything I wanted to say. Let me reiterate one more time before I get off of here. For those who may have possibly missed it, look at the picture that I have used for this Gaudio. One leg is an attachment and one is a connection. There are things in your life that are attachments, like the leg on the left, but the people in your life are connections, like the leg on the right. Don't fuck around and cut off your connections. Be sure to cut off your attachments. You see, a healthy body is the source of joy, and so too your connections are your source of joy. But an unhealthy body is the source of hell and suffering. So too attachments are the source of suffering. Be sure to discern between the two. It could be the difference between life and death, heaven and hell, happiness and sadness. Thank you for tuning in. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. Bye.